Thank you. Legislature. Good evening. Good evening. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation by Deacon Ken Carpinell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Tonight, as we come together and we see all the different coaches, it reminds me of one other important fact. The need and the importance for us to be able to guide each other, support each other, and to be able to listen to each other. By doing those things, we're able to sit there and move forward, work as a team, and in that way, as the Apostle Paul wrote, be able to win the race. So let us pray. Almighty God, thank you for the people who come out to give us that courage, that strength, that support, who lead us in those times of trouble, who help us to be able to find our way. Give us the strength to listen, to do the right things, and when troubled ourselves, to get up and then dust ourselves off and move forward. Give strength to the members of the council. Help them with wisdom perseverance, and understanding to be able to do the best thing for Gloucester Township and the people. Guide those of us here to be able to do what we can for each other and to carry each other's burdens and to do all these things in your name. Amen.
Please be seated. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We're using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. Request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison,
Present.
Ms. Grace.
She is ill.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
She is on vacation.
Mrs. Walters,
She is on, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Winters,
She's on vacation.
Mr. Mignon,
Here.
Mr. Mercado,
Present.
Mr. Carlemere,
Here.
Mr. Cardis,
Here.
Deputy Chief Manazzi,
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Here. Tonight, we're celebrating Coaches Appreciation Month. I'm going to go down there for a second. I want to first apologize that this is happening on the night of a Phillies game. I was hoping they'd clinch before this, but I want to thank you for all coming out this evening. This is the first year we have done this, where we have celebrated our athletic coaches from all of our athletic organizations here in Gloucester Township. And at the beginning of October is a day called National Coaches Day, and that's dedicated to the contribution of coaches across various fields, highlighting the roles that they play in our children's lives and shaping them. And I want you to think about, those who are adults here, to think about the coaches that impacted you and what made you decide to be a coach in your respective league. And when you're coaching, as a parent that I coached, and then my people, those that coached my son over the years, I didn't care what they believed in. I didn't care about who they loved. I didn't care about any of the things. I just cared about that they wanted to spend time with my son to learn the game of baseball and share that love. And so tonight we're going to talk about 9 outstanding individuals that have shared their love for their respective sports throughout our township. So let's give a round of applause to all 9 honorees. And we're going to start with Councilwoman Walters, bringing up Karen Hoffman.
Good evening. I would like to introduce Carolyn Hoffman from Gloucester Township Field Hockey. Gloucester Township Field Hockey nominates Karen Hoffman for Coach of the Year. Karen possesses many characteristics of an outstanding coach. Karen is dedicated. She has coached for this organization for 4 years. She currently serves as our vice president. Karen is willing to do whatever it takes to make our organization successful. Karen works hard at every practice and game, encouraging our players to be their best. Karen is our biggest cheerleader, and I have witnessed that in the snack stand. She cheers on players that aren't even on her team. She cheers on all the other girls and knows their names. She cheers on all her players and pushes them to take their play to the next level. We are honored to have Karen as an intricate part of our organization. She is a huge asset in helping to grow the love of field hockey in Gloucester Township. Congratulations, Karen. On behalf of David Mayer, or Mayor, we'd like to present this to you. Hi, And from the United States Congress, and from Camden County.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I've tried this suit out for the first time, and I bought it over the summertime. It's a little bit tight now. Bernie, where are you at? Bernie Kennedy, come on up, bud.
Oh, I'm done, sorry.
Nah, I need Bernard Kennedy. Where's he at? He might be working. Any officers here? Is he working tonight? Bernie Kennedy?
Bernie Docker.
Bernie Doherty?
Where's your head been at?
How'd you do that? Come on up. Okay, so normally I talk about an individual, I kind of ad-lib a little bit, but I can't do that because the person who nominated you did a fantastic job writing something. It's a little long, so I'm going to get right into it. Okay. First of all, is John Minch here? Dude, you rock. So it may be a bit impersonal, but I think the words that were put on these two pieces of paper are fantastic, and they capture the essence of who you are as an individual. It is with great pleasure and immense pride that I nominate Bernard Doherty for recognition as an exceptional member of the Blackwood Kiwanis Little League, BKLL community. Since 2012, Coach Bernie has dedicated himself wholeheartedly to BKLL, making a lasting impact on the lives of countless young players and their families. His unwavering commitment to the league, coupled with his outstanding qualities as a mentor and leader, make him a true standout in the community. Coach Bernie is the embodiment of a leader both on and off the baseball field. He is the coach who consistently receives requests from players and parents alike, a testament to the positive influence he has on those he works with. Bernie goes beyond teaching baseball skills. He imparts invaluable life lessons that extend far beyond the diamond. He instills values such as discipline, teamwork, and perseverance, qualities that children can carry with them throughout their lives. His ability to connect with children of all talents, helping them become better baseball players and better individuals, is truly remarkable. Bernie's dedication to BKLL extends to his own family as well. With 3 sons, Aiden, Shane, and Bernie, who have all been a part of the league, he and his wife Alicia are deeply ingrained in our community. Alicia's active involvement as a team mom and her willingness to support the league in any way necessary exemplifies the Doherty family's commitment to BKLL. In addition to his role as a devoted Little League coach and parent, Bernie serves as a member of the Gloucester Township Police Department, a position he has held since 2004. Prior to joining the police department, Bernie joined the Air Force in 1995 and served 8.5 years. His service to our community extends beyond the baseball field, making him a true community leader. His dedication to both law enforcement and the youth development is inspiring and showcases his unwavering commitment to making Gloucester Township a better place for all. Furthermore, Bernie's involvement in the BKLL Board of Directors as the league's player agent, that's interesting, is a testament to his passion for enhancing the Little League experience for all children in our community. His role in shaping the future of the league is invaluable, ensuring that the BKLL remains a place where children can learn, grow, and create cherished memories. Coach Bernie Doherty is one of the heartbeats that make BKLL the thriving organization it is today. His impact on children aged 4 to 16 is immeasurable. as the experiences they gain while playing for Coach Bernie are ones they will carry with them for a lifetime. His dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to both baseball and life lessons make him a role model and a source of inspiration for all of us fortunate enough to know him. I wholeheartedly endorse Bernard Doherty for any recognition or award that acknowledges his outstanding contributions to the Blackwood Kiwanis Little League and our community at large. Coach Bernie is more than a coach. He is a mentor, a leader, and a true asset to our community. I couldn't have said that better. That's fantastic. So, in appreciation, Gloucester Township wants to give you the Gloucester Township Coaches Appreciation Award. The congressmen, the commissioners, and the state legislature all want to give you these accommodations. Would you like to say anything? Come on, what's your favorite football movie? I gotta go football.
Remember the Titans is a good one.
You got any quotes? Can you give me a inspiring? Come on, man.
Thank you for the kind words, John, and everyone coming out and everyone who participates in youth athletics. It's really important to, for the kids and, helping mold them so they can become better adults.
This is the only time that I can call Bernie Sunshine, okay? Take it easy.
Thank you.
I have the honor of bringing up from Aerial Little League, Andrew DeVecchio. Coach, President. So these nominations are usually a person nominates the individual, comes to a council, and then we disperse them out amongst the council members to do this part up here tonight. So when I was given Coach DeVecchio's, I did not know it was 10 pages long. So the beauty of that is it was more than one person that nominated Coach DeVecchio. So I had to paraphrase this because if not, we'd be here for Game 7. Unfortunately, I think the Phils are losing. So I'm going to get started right away. And I'm going to mention the names of the folks who did nominate Andrew. So on behalf of the Board of Directors from Aerial Little League, we're writing to nominate Andrew DeVecchio for the Coaches Appreciation Award. When you think of qualities that a coach should demonstrate, Andrew is the true epitome of a coach. Strength-based, goal-oriented, observant, knowledgeable, patient, respectful, effective communicator, and much more. In 1988, not soon after beginning playing baseball for Aerial Little League, he continued to age out at 16 years old and coached many high school teams. Since 2010, he's been coaching recreational baseball, softball. His first team was called Pinkalicious, a group of 10 5-year-old girls who never played softball, but every single girl came back the following year because of their positive softball experience. Andrew lives, works, coaches middle schools, sports, and volunteers all within Gloucester Township. He is the jack of all trades when it comes to coaching. Beyond being a coach for the Aerial Little League, Andrew devotes time as a GT Stallions coach, a Timber Creek Junior Wrestling coach, assists with GT Field Hockey. He's a team player, and having compassion and being empathetic are skills that we will take far in life. Winning is nice, but it's not everything. When Andrew came to Aerial in 2016, he jumped right into coaching softball and took over as softball commissioner. I think that was my last year up at Aerial Little League. Yes. He was also the assistant coach for the 12U softball team. That year, the girls defied all the odds and became the 12U district champions. For the next 5 years, the bulk of that team stayed together, and Andrew was able to create the first ever senior softball team in 2021. Those girls won districts and were the Section 4 runners-up. So if you don't know how it works in Little League, you win your district, which is local to us, and then you win Section 4, which is all of South Jersey, and then the next step is states, where the top 4 teams go into states. I did, yeah, but we're working. That's about you, man. Thank you. He also assisted the 10U boys to the district champion status in 2022, and this year led the 2023 11U boys to a district champions and to the Section 4 championship game. Andrew has never coached for the accolades or the recognition. It is his dream job, one that does not pay a dime, but makes him feel like the richest person in the world. It is for these reasons that Aero Little League believes that Andrew should be recognized for his compassionate, empathetic, authentic, and genuine coaching abilities. He is a truly dedicated leader who wants to give every child the best. So these are some player testimonials. This is from Liana. Coach DeVecchio is the best coach I could have ever had and made me really passionate about softball. This is from Michaela. Coach D was the best coach I ever had. He's hilarious, but is a pro at coaching and leads his teams to win. This is from EJ. Mr. D has coached me throughout all my years playing for Ariel, and I couldn't ask for a better coach. He always pushed me to be the best player. He's pushed me to the limits to help me grow, and he's one of my favorite memories with Mr. D is when he made me a catcher. Back there, you're lucky to have Mr. D to coach and take advantage of it. He will teach you everything you need to know. This one is from Courtney. Not only was Mr. D my favorite coach, he was also my favorite teachers. Mr. D had a sense of humor. In the years at Ariel, he helped me with anxiety-free games I've ever played. This is from Becca. Andrew DeVecchio is the best coach I have ever had. He's the type of coach you wouldn't think knew everything or anything about coaching. I'm just being honest. But I was completely wrong. He did anything and everything for his players. He was a second dad. And this one is probably the most special one of all. It's from Kaylee. I'm sure you know who Kaylee is. And who is that?
Unfortunately, yes.
That's his daughter. As much as my dad annoys me, he has coached me my entire softball career and has always pushed me to be the best. Thanks to him, I've become the player I am today. He was and will always be my number one supporter. He continues to inspire me to be my best every day, both on and off the fields. I love you, Daddy. This is a letter of references from John Zarnowski. My name is John Zarnowski. He's a former board member, president, current coach with GT Stallions. Andrew is the most dedicated coach I know in the entire township. Let's see. He coaches multiple sports at Ann Mullen, including head wrestling coach. He also coaches at the Stallions, junior wrestling, and aerial baseball and softball. Andrew takes no season off and coaches multiple teams per season. He is a knowledgeable and dedicated coach. Andrew is dedicated to the children. We will be hard-pressed to find another coach in Gloucester Township that has touched more lives over the decade or so as Andrew has been coaching because of the time he dedicates, impacts on teams, and impacts he has on children and families. This one is from a board member who's in the back, Nicole Mazza. Hello, my name is Nicole Mazza, and I am currently the board secretary of Ariel Little League. There are so many time-consuming, tedious tasks that go into running a program. Andrew excels in getting all those things done behind the scenes to take any extra burdens off his fellow coaches or board members. He is amazing with his team and equally as tough with the moments that when they call for it. My son was lucky enough to have him on both district teams in 2022 and 23. We couldn't have asked for a better experience, and Coach Andrew will always have a special place in my son's heart. I have been the secretary for over the past 3 years. Andrew has recently moved from the VP into the role of the president. And that was just recently, right? President. And while still coaching both his son's baseball team and his youngest daughter's softball team. He has taught me so many invaluable lessons over the years. There is no one more deserving of this award. This one is from Christian Dickinson. My name is Christian Dickinson, and I'm an educator, wrestling coach, and track coach at Ann Mullen Middle School. I've known Andrew DeVecchio for the better part of a decade, from being a co-worker, co-teacher, and co-coaches as a valued friend. Andrew's life is his children and the children who are lucky enough to have him as a coach. This is demonstrated by the countless hours on the field that everyone can witness by the exponentially greater number of hours that he puts in at home and on a very limited spare time. Kids want to play for Andrew and seem to hang on his every word, leading to the success of his athletes on and off the field. Coach DeVecchio also understands and impresses upon his athletes the importance of growing up as a respectful young man or woman in school, academia, at home, in public, and among peers. What is so understated with Andrew is that he believes that it is his honor and privilege to give himself completely to the overall betterment of his athletes and students. Andrew is a model educator, parent, and coach. I lend my full endorsement and support and believe that there could be no better candidate for this award. And then last but not least, we have one submitted by Dana Hicks. I have known Andrew approximately since 2012 when our daughters both cheered together. A few years later, my daughter decided to give softball a try, and she was fortunate enough to have Andrew as her softball coach. During that season, there was a need for additional volunteers to support the team, and I volunteered to coach with Andrew. It was a true pleasure to coach with him and watch how he took each child under his wing, encouraged them, and along the way, and made learning the game of softball fun. I witnessed Andrew to teach the children sportsmanship through his engagement with the other coaches, the umpires, and even the parents. Andrew is worthy of all accolades available to acknowledge the outstanding commitment and dedication he has demonstrated throughout the years. He has given countless hours of time, energy, and passion to support our community's youth to be engaged with compassion, guidance, and mentorship. And we have some pictures here that I can give to you later. But I just want to mention that Andrew is a fixture up there at Arrow Little League. I go up there and watch many games, and he's up there all the time. My son was lucky enough to have Coach DeVecchio as a middle school, high school player. And one of the greatest things when I see Coach DeVecchio always, when we talk about my son, you always say, what?
He was the best right fielder I ever had.
And I thank you for that. And it's because of your coaching and your teaching. Congratulations, Coach DeVecchio. Job well done.
We're doing double and triple duty because we have some members of council that are not here this evening. So I want to also extend well wishes for the mayor. He could not be here today. He had a prior engagement, and he regrets that he could not be here today. But he also wants to congratulate all the honorees today. Are you live streaming me there, Miss Danny? Okay, all right. This next individual is Ed Coursey from Gloucester Township Baseball and Flag Football. Ed? Ed was nominated by the president of Gloucester Township Baseball and Flag Football, Jim Nash. Thank you, Jim, for the nomination. And I want to thank all the presidents and all the organizations that did nominate someone. Ed resides in the Rosegate area of Gloucester Township. He's married to his wife, Janine. They have 3 children. And he is the executive director of the Independent Living and Assisted Living Facility. He was nominated by Jim Nash, president of Gloucester Township Baseball and Flag Football. And Jim states that Ed has been with the organization originally as a coach and moved up to the role of vice president. During this time, Ed has coached countless number of teams and has been an integral part of our league's operations. Year after year, Ed is one of the coaches that receives the most coach requests from parents in both baseball and flag football. He works tirelessly with teams, sometimes coaching 4 teams at a time. He is also the first one to volunteer when we are in the need of flag football officials, and in many cases, spends his entire Sunday morning and early afternoon running up and down the field officiating. On the administrative side, Ed is responsible for organizing rosters, tryouts, scheduling, and organizing coaches. He also runs our fundraising efforts like Beef and Beers and is the master of ceremonies at our opening day. Gloucester Township Baseball and Flag Football is very lucky to have Ed Coursey. He's an invaluable part of our league. I get to see Ed every April when there's an opening at GT Baseball, and I see the professionalism that he displays, but also the caringness that he has for his fellow coaches and players and parents. And that's evident when it comes across when you speak to Ed and the way that he speaks to individuals throughout that organization. So I want to commend you for everything that you do. On behalf of Mayor and Council, this is presented to Ed Coursey, Gloucester Township Baseball, October 23, presented by Mayor David R. Mayor and Council. And you have a citation from Congressman Norcross, from the Cannon County Commissioners, and also from the state legislature, a citation. Congratulations, Ed.
Congratulations to all the coaches. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, Jim.
next honoree from Gloucester Township Boys Basketball League, Heather Condis. Okay. Is Harding gonna play this Thursday? Maybe, okay, all right. Heather was nominated by Scott Gottlieb. Scott here?
He's not.
Okay.
I don't think they know.
Okay. Are we nominating
I
you?
know it's
Okay. Was nominated on behalf of Gloucester Township Boys Basketball League by Scott Gottlieb. Heather's dedication to youth players in our community is truly exemplary. She devotes her time to various organizations within the township, but it's her role as a coach and board member for Gloucester Township Boys Basketball League that stands out. Heather's commitment to our organization is unwavering. Her contributions have a lasting impact on both the youth players and the broader community. Her commitment to teaching is not just the game of basketball, but also values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and perseverance. And they have helped shape well-rounded and confident young individuals. Her dedication has also made Gloucester Township Boys Basketball League a respected and beloved part of our community. And her efforts have inspired others to get involved in similar ways, further enriching the lives of our youth players. One remarkable aspect of Heather's contribution is her role in running our instructional division, despite not having any children in that division. She goes above and beyond to instill a love for basketball in every child she interacts with. Her passion for the sport and her genuine concerns for the development and well-being of our young players make her an outstanding nominee for this award. And we wholeheartedly agree. So this is presented to Heather Condis on behalf of Mayor David R. Mayor and Council from the Gloucester Township Boys Basketball League. And we have citations from Congress, the state legislature, and the county commission. Heather, would you like to say anything?
Just, it's obvious why we have the best athletes that come out of Gloucester Township, because we obviously have the best coaches, and it's what's the people that I get to do this with all the time, so thank you.
Congratulations.
Michael Lionel? Michael? Yeah. I got the name right this time. Yeah. Did you think I was serious? Michael's not here? Oh, well, I'm just gonna mention him anyway. I think Michael heard that I was making phone calls today. Coach Mike, Michael Ionelli, lives in Glen Oaks. Grew up in Gloucester Township, Brittany Woods, Breckenridge. Now, like I said, he lives in Glen Oaks. I found it most interesting that he coaches at Gloucester Township Stallions, the 125s, but he has a 2-year-old boy. I think that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. The essence of this community as a whole are the people in this audience, the coaches, and most importantly, the children. We're a great community because of the coaches and the children. Everything that we do is focused on you guys. So I spoke with Glenn Leary. Anybody know Glenn Leary? He's someplace for Kentucky. Fantastic football player. He was GT football, GT Stallions football. So I called him today. He's getting ready to go down to Tennessee to watch his kid play against Tennessee. And Glenn told me it's people like Mike who give selflessly of themselves that have a unique opportunity to shape the lives of young people. He said Mike's involvement in GT football, both in fundraising and coaching, has been critical to the success of the organization and its athletes. I also spoke to Coach Mike's younger brother. He's 13 years younger than him. Tried to get the scoop on him. He's a local, he's a police officer in town. And Mike spoke with pride about his big brother. Shane said, Mike will go out of his way to ensure athletes learn sound fundamentals so they can perform up to their own expectations, which made me think of Bobby Knight. He's controversial, but he had said, Bobby Knight once said, I've never felt my job was to win basketball games. Rather, that the essence of my job as a coach was to do everything I could to give my players the background necessary to succeed in life. And that is an undercurrent that I'm hearing about all of the coaches here tonight. It's more about the kids. It's about letting them become who they can become. When I asked Shane to sum up his big brother and what makes him a good coach, his response was dedication, caring, and selflessness. The GT Executive Board nominated Coach Mike and had this to say about him. Coach Mike exemplifies the type of leadership, commitment, and dedication to our program and also our community. He puts in countless hours of volunteer work and makes endless contributions to help with the success of the program. His donations and professionalism are felt throughout our community and other organizations. The citizens of Gloucester Township have been impacted by his generosity and countless good deeds. He is one heck of a 125-pound football coach for the team of 11 and 12-year-olds. So congratulations to Mike. We'll get this to you.
Our next honoree is Coach Tony Choice. Coach Tony was nominated by the president of Gloucester Township Lions Youth Football and Cheer, Joe Kelsey. Joe, thank you very much. Coach Tony is a selfless individual who donates all his spare time to our organization. He's done a fantastic job as the head coach of our sophomore 10U team. Last year, him and his team were the division champs and is looking to repeat again this year. They are currently undefeated. Still undefeated? We are. All right. And are really doing a fantastic job at the sophomore level. The way he cares for and the way he's teaching the kids, no matter the position, is second to none. It's just not what he does on the field. It's what he does off the field that makes a difference as well. During any event we may hold or different tasks that we do, I know I can call Tony and he will be there. We have a couple sayings in the GT Lions. One, it's for the kids. And two, we are one big family. And Coach Tony is a testament to that. In closing, these are a few reasons why I nominate Coach Tony Choice as Coaches Appreciation Month nominee for Gloucester Township Lions Youth Football and Cheer. I can't think of anyone else who deserves it. Congratulations, man. Appreciate it. This is presented to you on behalf of Mayor and Township Council. That award, along with a congressional citation from Congressman Don Norcross, Camden County Commissioner citation, and also a legislative citation from the Assembly and Senate office. Congratulations.
So I did write a whole speech out about an hour ago. I'm gonna skip all of it. First, I'd like to apologize for the rowdy people in the back. Second, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting me.
I'd like to call Coach Janae Zeckman. Coach Janae, she was honored by Colin Sabaco and Jeff Friedman. So I just want to read what they wrote. Sorry, you don't have to. GT Lacrosse nominates Janae Zeckman for Coach Appreciation. Janae has been a volunteer with GT Lacrosse for the past 8 years. Coach Janae has been supporting GT girls lacrosse through her efforts as a leader and role model for all our GT youth. In her efforts, Coach Janae has been both a head coach, assistant coach, board member, and league rep. She has spent countless hours both on the field and off preparing and planning for her season to maximize the fun and learning opportunities for all players that she engages with. Therefore, it is an honor and a privilege to show our appreciation for Coach Janae in our recommendation to you. Coach Janae, she's my girls' coach, lacrosse, since they've been 7. And she is the reason why they enjoy going out there and playing lacrosse. She is a positive role model. She encourages the girls, she supports the girls, she backs the girls, and she shows the girls. She's out there running with the girls. So I commend her and all the hard work she does, because I know it's hours and hours of planning and time out there with the girls. So I thank you. And okay. So on behalf of Mayor Wheeling. Thank you. And Congress and.
All right,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tony's daughter, come on. Tony's daughter.
No, it's not. Okay. And last, but certainly not least, from the Gloucester Township Field of Dreams, Wendy Sindoni. So Wendy was recognized by myself, Michael Mignone, the chair and the president of the Field of Dreams. In 2017, I had taken up the task of starting the Field of Dreams. A lot of people have said, hey, we start this Field of Dreams, let's get it going. As a matter of fact, I take a look in the room and I see a lot of the colors of the teams that participated as volunteers. So we had a meeting in this room. There was about 15 of us that sat around this table, and we decided how we're going to get this going. And let's get it going now. The kids, the players, they're banking on us to get this right. So we had a meeting, and Wendy was there from Jump Street. She came, she had a lot of suggestions, and being the coach, I didn't want to coach the Field of Dreams. I wanted to be out there for everybody, not take one group of players. So we had 2 coaches picked out, and unfortunately one of them had to bail because she had some prior commitments that came up. Wendy stepped up and took that challenge. Not only did she take it, but Wendy was one of the best coaches that I've ever been around, because the Field of Dreams, it's not about competitiveness. I know we hear about championships and being undefeated and district championships, getting the states. Well, the Field of Dreams is not about that. The Field of Dreams is about an experience. Wendy has made it one of the best experiences for her, not only just her players, but the players that are involved, for the buddies. She's always an advocate for the buddies that come up and help and coach and teach. So for that, I'm extremely grateful. Now, not only did Wendy come up and just help coach, but she brought entourage with her. She brought her husband, Jerry, who's in the back. She brought her children, Chrissy and Katie, and she brought another group of kids, the Blakeleys, Josh and Julia, who helped to come out and do that, help coach. And then last year, we were very lucky enough to find an announcer. Now, I was doing the announcing for the games, and the kids like to hear their names, and the players like to hear their names mentioned. But we were able to get a school teacher by the name of Megan Fritsch. And Fritsch, right? Did I say Fritsch? And Megan has been phenomenal for that. And you know, people come up and they recommend her for other events and recognize her for the wonderful things that she does, and that's because of Wendy. Wendy also has been an advocate for, we have players that are in wheelchairs. And there's a contraption that's out there that help the players in wheelchairs swing with hittable fatigue. They get 3 hittable pitches, and it's called bat swinger. So from 2017 to current, Wendy has been on me to get this bat swinger. We even actually had to call Canada because that's who made it. Unfortunately, Canada would not send it out of their country. So we looked locally. We had Rowan College. We had somebody in there that was looking to make it. Villanova. We still have not purchased this. But Wendy still is on me an advocate to get this bat swinger. And we really need it because, like I said, we have about 2, maybe 3 people now. And every year we get new kids that are joining up that are in wheelchairs. So it is an absolute necessity that we get this. Wendy's a physical therapist at Gloucester Township Schools. She goes to about 11 different schools and has been in this field for over 20 years. As you can imagine, Wendy's gained a rapport with her students, which primarily turned out to be her players. Wendy took a quick break from coaching this year, but still managed to show up for about half of the games. And I can tell you that Wendy had made an impression on all those players, which I, myself, Coach Mercado and Coach Walters, we took over that team. But when Wendy and Coach Sindoni showed up on the field, they gravitated to her. We lost control of the game because they wanted to be around Coach Sindoni. And the look on those faces were priceless. Now, the other thing is, Wendy, the other coach, she took the Phillies. We had two colors. We got a red and a blue. So she took the Phillies. Wendy, being a Phillies diehard fan, said, I asked her, why did you choose the Dodgers? And I thought she'd choose the Dodgers for color, blue. Blue is the autism color. But she said, me and my team, our favorite player is Chase Utley. Chase Utley played for the Phillies. Since we can't have Chase Utley, he's now on the Dodgers. So now we're going to take the Dodgers because we have the best player in Major League Baseball, Chase Utley. So, Ms. Sindoni, Coach Sindoni, I want to thank you very much for all you've done, not only just for those players, for the schools of Gloucester Township, and you are always welcome back, and you know that. And the program is always, you're from the Jump Street, and you're going to always be there, and I thank you for your assistance in this.
A big thank you goes to Mike and everybody that did help with Field of Dreams, and a lot of the faces that are out here. If it weren't for the community buddies, we couldn't do what we do. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you once again to everybody for coming here this evening and for celebrating our coaches. We have individuals here that have made a positive impact on our children here in our township. You have spent your time, your money, your patience on our children, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done. I want to thank the league presidents for coming here today and nominating individuals, and I just want to thank you for how you represent our township and everything that you do. All our coaches here, our players, and our parents. So a round of applause to everybody. If we can have all the honorees come up here for a group picture. Thank you very much and have a great evening, everyone.
Okay, 'cause I
Yeah, that's
Okay, so I need the
DJ said he doesn't know what they're talking about.
Huh?
DJ said he doesn't know what they're talking about.
Too long.
Yeah, I
Well, Chase, I haven't had to straighten him out yet. Growler? Yeah. It's a cherry bomb. It's been branding it.
Chase, I swear.
Yeah, tell them. Still my favorite.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, can I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison,
Present.
Mrs. Walters. Here. Mrs. Winters. I'm sorry, Mr. Mignon,
Here.
Mr. Mercado,
Present.
Mr. Carlemere,
Here.
Mr. Cardis,
Here.
Deputy Chief Manazzi,
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Here. We now have our first public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council may speak one time. Once all those wishing to address council have had their turns, they may address council a second time, only if it adds to what was said earlier, not repeating earlier statements. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes. There's 15 minutes during the first public portion. Anyone like to speak during the first public portion? Ms. Coyne. Again, this is for agenda items only, everybody.
Denise Coyne, Cheese Landing.
I don't know why that's doing.
Hello, can you hear me?
You want to come function? You can come first.
Okay. I want to discuss. Maybe I will.
God.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's about it.
Tap that, says, yeah.
Here, tap that.
Okay. Resolution 23-10-273. It's for a property that apparently was sold via tax sale for $2,000 back in 1983. And the owner never got the deed for the property, if I'm reading this correctly. And in the title of the resolution, it says it's for block 19502, lot 16. And lot 16 doesn't exist. So then in the body of the document, 4th paragraph down,
Lot 26, correct?
it says 1952, 19502, lot 26, which is what I believe to be the correct block and lot number. And then in the last paragraph, it says that they are discussing lot 18502, block 18502, lot 16, which belongs to 34 Farmhouse Road, which is a totally different property owned by the Fredericks. So after 50 some years, I still don't think this guy's getting the deed to his property.
The deed wasn't recorded as property, is that correct, Mr. Carter?
That's what it says.
I think what happened, when you purchase that, it's, the deeds are sent to the successful bidder in a sense, and then his obligation is to send it for recording. And my sense is, and speaking with his attorney also, is that he probably didn't pay whatever might have been any recording fees properly, or he just didn't realize it had to be recorded. So that's the circumstances. We researched it. It's clear that he did purchase it. The receipt was signed by the then business administrator, Pete, and everything showed that he was a successful bidder, paid the necessary fees to the town. Deed was prepared and drafted, he just never recorded.
Those errors there in the lot, Mr. Palmer.
Yeah, we'll correct those. It is 19502 lot 26.
Lot 26. So when you had that on the consent agenda, we'll amend that to reflect block 19502 lot 26. When we go to consent.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sure the owner will thank you.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Smith?
Hi, good evening, Council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbrook Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It's Clementon, New Jersey, which is considered Gloucester Township. I'm permitted to ask questions on the ordinances. I know that you said it's for consent agenda, but sometimes you do the ordinances first, and now you're re-asking for any public comment on consent agenda. Am I permitted to ask a question?
There's a hearing for the second reading, ordinance 23-09. So be a public portion.
Well, the first
You can
reading
ask
for the
questions
ordinance.
about those first, that's fine.
Thank you. 02310,
Yes.
does that, it seems like you need to get a permit there. Is Gloucester Township participating in some type of filming industry now?
This was something I was requested from the mayor, which will allow motion picture and television commission to allow filming to take place in Gloucester Township and the process to go.
Does that mean that all the residents would be subject to participate willingly or not if they're seen in public?
I would imagine that if someone was participating in some television production or movie, that they would have to sign a waiver.
I only read the beginning portion. I wasn't sure if it was going to include the council meetings or any public venues, anything.
No one wants to see us.
Well, also, if I could, as a previously living in the township of, or in the city of Merchantville, New Jersey, I shamefully did not attend their council meetings. Thank you for allowing me to attend these now that I reside in Clementon, New Jersey, Gloucester Township. But I did notice very strangely in the center of town of Merchantville, when I lived there from, I think, 2004 or 2005 till June 3rd, 2014, when I was evicted. There was a public display of minimum wage. So I don't know if maybe they had a similar type of circumstance going on within that town, the town of Merchantville, the city of Merchantville, to where they had to publicly display the minimum wage. I can only imagine they must have been doing something very similar to whatever Gloucester Township is doing now. This was back in, I think, 2012, 2013. So I don't know, you might be required to do that. Is anyone aware of whatever that was? Since like I said, I did not attend any of the meetings and I did not know why they publicly displayed it on such a large billboard in the center of such a small town.
I'm unfamiliar with that, I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I asked if that would include anybody in public would be subject to being involved, whether they wanted to or not, just by being in public.
I would imagine they would have to complete a waiver.
All right. Well, you might want to be aware that previously in another town, they had to display it publicly in a billboard type form in the middle of town of people's workers' rights, minimum wage standards where you would for any type of work. I just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you, Smith. Is there anyone else? Is it agenda item only, this agenda item?
Danny Paris, Millbridge Apartments. Your clock's just going now, it hasn't been going. I'll just let you know it's been on now. The ordinance for the trucks and vehicles that are parking all over the place and the trucks and vehicles that are all either crashed up or sit around for people to put drugs into and just sort of left there. And,
Which ordinance are you talking?
I guess it would be '09.
Okay, there would be a hearing for that, but that has nothing to do with that.
So who do I call? And,
That's, can I finish? That's repealing an existing ordinance.
right, so for the 9 years that I've lived in Millbridge, because I lived in Stratford for almost 28 years and owned a home there. And it was no problem to get cars taken out of property where they've been sitting for over 9 years and they're like either been in a crash and they're a very bad situation where kids can get hurt on these old vehicles that are all crashed up with pieces hanging all over the place, and they've been sitting there. And trucks from all over the place park all over Conestoga Road and all over the front of Millbridge Gardens and everything else. How, and I called the police and asked them, and I'm not blaming you, and I actually honored your police department, Chief Harkins, because I used to train for the police recruits for years with the prosecutor's office. But how do they, who takes them away when you keep complaining about it? And I mean, they still sit there and they're tagged and people rip off the tags to be taken by a tow truck.
Deputy Chief, that's something you can answer.
Well, it depends on the location. I don't know. I mean, we investigate we get calls all the time for vehicles and trucks. I mean.
No, but they've been sitting there for 9 years.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I can't speak for the ones you're talking about, but we do investigate them. So, I mean, unless it's registered and it's legal.
They're not registered. There's no
Well,
tags.
then you need to call us. We need to look into that. I don't know if there's one in specific, but we would certainly.
Because I spoke to, I forget who the person is the person who drives around who is I forget his name. My mom's been very ill and she's dying. So I just really been trying to keep up with it because these cars actually could blow up. Everything's leaking out of the oil tanks and everything. So, and one's sitting right next to my car that has been there for almost over a year now. And I have a very old car that is in great shape with low mileage, and I don't want anything to happen to my car.
If you could please report those vehicles, police department, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else for agenda items only? Anyone else that has a spoken that would like to speak? Ms. Smithman?
Repeat what you just said.
I believe you have we have a second public portion, sir. You can speak on any item.
Okay, that's starting now.
No, I'll tell you, you can be first for that, sir. I saw you were raising your hand there.
Hello, my name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It's Clementon, New Jersey, but it's part of Gloucester Township for this municipality and this council meeting. But on the consent agenda, there seems to be 7 resolutions for revenue.
Yes.
All of them mention something with it refers to as a like sum. Does that mean that all of these grants are matched in some way? Like, so they would be considered double the value?
Well, no, there are, I don't believe they are. I'll go down the list. There's a JAG grant for the police department, Clean Communities grant for us to hire public works individuals. There's a click it or ticket through the police department.
Yeah, that began in Haverford, Connecticut, from what I
There's a
understand.
distracted driving grant. There's a drive sober grant for the police department. There's emergency management grant, and then there is a stormwater assistance grant. So those are the grants that are listed.
The click it or ticket began in Haverford, Connecticut, from what I understand.
I'm not aware.
But it says that a like sum amount, does that mean that it is equally matched, the amount that is provided?
No, I think that's just verbiage. Mr. Cardis, where do you see that? Where do you see the like sum
It
amount?
says be it further resolved that a like sum $10,000 hereby appropriated under the caption, and then the one I'm looking at now is emergency.
Mr. Carter, what would like sum legalese be?
So these are all chapter 159, and you may be able to grant, not incorrect. Chapter 159 is when you receive grant funds and monies that are not originally appropriated in your budget. Statute requires you that you do this resolution to incorporate those dollars into your budget.
Correct, and it's a form resolution.
So if there is a requirement that you, matching funds, then that's the same.
It would be indicated.
Correct. That's
Well, then, please define the term.
It's a form resolution, the state requires, for a chapter 159, taking grant dollars in mid-year into your budget.
So the term like sum, what does that refer to?
If you have a matching fund required, like sums are put in, depending on the grant number, grant format.
Well, all of the resolutions that we're receiving funds refer to each amount as,
I don't know why they use that terminology.
It's a form letter, that resolution.
Again, what it is the budget was already passed. These amounts came about after the budget was adopted, and the state, under the Division of Local Government Services, NJSA, requires, in order for you to put that money into the 2023 budget, you must do what's called a Chapter 159. That's a resolution where you confirm that you have a grant agreement, that the money is coming to the township, and this allows us to appropriate that money so we can spend it.
so it was termed incorrectly?
No, this is a state form that's used, so it is correct.
Thank you, Ms. Smithson. That concludes our first public portion. A proclamation.
Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, October 2023. Whereas pregnancy and infant loss is such a common occurrence, one that's usually not recognized. And whereas many local parents and families have suffered the death of an infant prior to, during delivery, or shortly after birth, where these devastating tragedies often occur suddenly, without warning, as a result of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm birth, medical circumstances, sudden infant death syndrome, accident, or other causes or complications. And whereas the Township of Gloucester wishes to acknowledge the profound grief experienced by families who suffer the death of a baby, that even the shortest lives are still valuable, and the grief of those who mourn the loss of these lives should not be trivialized. And whereas the 15th day of October is recognized in parts of the United States and in many other jurisdictions around the world as a day of remembrance and awareness of pregnancy and infant loss. And whereas increased awareness of the causes and impacts surrounding pregnancy and infant loss may lead to greater understanding, support, and resources in communities across the Township of Gloucester. And whereas a month of remembrance honors the lives of children taken far too soon and supports grieving parents, grandparents, siblings, and other family members whose lives are forever altered by the heartbreak of losing a child. And whereas those parents and families require support and understanding during their time of grief. And whereas promoting awareness of the challenges faced by those parents and families is a positive means of establishing support and understanding. And whereas recognizing pregnancy and infant loss awareness Remembrance Month would enable the people of the Township of Gloucester to consider how, as individuals and communities, they can meet the needs of bereaved mothers, fathers, and family members, and work to prevent the causes of these deaths. And whereas Three Little Birds Pregnancy and Infant Loss Support offers all residents of the Township of Gloucester experiencing difficulties in their family building journey a safe space to explore their grief, find comfort and validation, and connect with others at their office along the Black Horse Pike in downtown Blackwood at no cost. Now therefore be it resolved that David R. Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and Orlando Mercado, President of Council, the Township of Gloucester, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, and encourages parents, caregivers, and all residents to become educated in opportunities to prevent pregnancy and infant loss and support bereaved families when prevention is not possible.
Thank you. Bid report. I entertain a motion to accept the bid report.
I'll make that motion.
Second. On the question, roll call please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance of first reading, is an introduction. There'll be a hearing at the second reading.
Ordinance 0-23-10, ordinance creating chapter 38 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission, which would allow motion picture and television filming in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
There's a second on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 23-11, ordinance amending chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. What this does is amend this chapter 81 of the code to include Gloucester Township Fire District 6 Aerial Fire Company's parking lot at 1953 Williamstown Road. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 0-23-09, it's ordinance amending chapter 81 Vehicles and Traffic section entitled Parking by Permit during certain hours on certain days on certain streets of the Code of the Township of Gloucester, Camden County, State of New Jersey. What this does is repeal in its entirety chapter 81, section 16 of the code, indicating parking by permit during certain hours on certain days on certain streets. This is open to a public hearing. Anyone wish to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, we'll close. Would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, I'd like to, about the situation.
Okay.
So when we have an area on Conestoga Road and you have a stop sign and school buses come through and you got all these truckers that don't even live in Millbridge or Millbridge Homes on Millbridge Road, parking their trucks and blocking places that people try to walk across with their dogs, and they don't have permits to park there because they're just tired and they park there for the weekends. It's a private area. What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do about it?
So this particular ordinance is repealing what I said, certain times and certain dates.
Right, but there's,
No. So yours is a separate issue.
no, they're parking there all the time.
This is a separate issue.
Okay, how's it a separate
You wanna
issue?
bring that up during the second public portion?
No, but how's it a second issue?
It's a separate issue. This is repealing what we have in place right now. It's a certain area around the Highland Regional High School area, when there used to be double sessions and cars weren't allowed to park there because of the double sessions and school being in session.
Right, but this says with a sign, this is private area and people are parking there with big trucks, big truck tractor trailers and blocking the view of young children crossing streets and parents with their dogs crossing streets. And it's a private area. It seems like the same type of situation.
This is different.
Okay,
If you'd like to bring it up during the second public portion, we can discuss that. Is that fine?
that's fine, until you have somebody get killed.
Is there anyone else like to speak on this? Close the public hearing. I entertain the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our consent agenda. We have an amendment that should be made on resolution 2310-273. And let's get the correct block number on that, 19502, and that is lot 26. So can I have a motion to amend that resolution?
I'll make the motion to amend. That is,
Resolution 23? Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
On the question to amend, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Now, I like to entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended.
so moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We now have GTE Gov access emails. We have 4 of them this evening. Our first one's from Abby Rothschild of 44 Essex Lane in Uriel. Seeming each month, I see council celebrating accomplishments of various underserved, diverse groups, and it's greatly appreciated to see that recognition. I have, however, noticed the police department doesn't seem to share in that. Specifically, with regard to Women in Law Enforcement Day, the chief neglected to highlight any of the exceptional female officers in the township on their social media pages. Other departments made it a point to recognize their employees. It's disheartening, especially when you see posts that have endless photos of the chief from every angle. Aren't there more officers than the chief that make up our wonderful police department? What does council think about the obvious disparity between selfishly promoting the chief, but not for one day, our great female officers? My personal thought that all of our employees should be recognized. That may have been an oversight on the police department. I think the chief does a wonderful job of recognizing all of his employees. This was forwarded to the chief. Deputy Chief, are you aware of this as well?
And if I may speak,
Yes.
sir, we did try and contact that person today by phone with no answer, unable to leave a message. And just personally speaking, from that did fall under my command at one time. Our Community Relations Bureau and with the social media is a very time consuming and a lot of effort is put into that. And yes, it probably was an oversight. We have yet to speak with those commanders. We want to thank them for bringing that to our attention, and we'll certainly look at that for future years. And I know we've celebrated that in the past as well for our officers here.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Our next is from Nora Huff of 58 Yorkshire Road, Sicklerville. I have a question regarding the redevelopment of Brittany Woods. Initially, we were told that we would receive upgraded appliances and other upgraded materials such as windows, doors, and paint. However, none of these upgrades were made. The appliances are not working properly. The windows were replaced with cheaper windows, and one window has already fallen out. The apartment was not painted. There is only primer on the walls. Additionally, there are electrical issues, so no more than one appliance can be used at a time. For example, when I turn on the microwave, a different appliance will go out. It seems the electrical box may need to be upgraded to supply ample voltage for appliances. The dishwasher also does not work properly. Members of the construction crew mentioned that the original plans and appliances were swapped out for less expensive options because they ran out of money because of that lady's apartment. I'm not sure what that means, but that is what I was told. We also had a storage unit that has since been locked, and we were told it was no longer available to us. We were never informed that the storage would be not available to us. We lost square footage on the inside and the use of outside existing storage. We were told that there will be a fine by the township if we use that storage. I would like to see documentation pertaining to this information regarding the storage. I would like to address these issues with City Council directly, given that the plans for redevelopment were approved and overseen by the City Council. Mr. Carson, I'm going to ask for your help in this matter, in reaching out to Ms. Huff. And yes, it was a redevelopment area. We had a redevelopment agreement with that developer, but some of these things here are exactly unacceptable. But I don't believe the township's going to fine an individual resident, but with this matter. But let's get some questions answered for Ms. Huff. Our next question is from Cheryl Player of 4 Latham Way in Sicklerville. Do you want to reserve this for the public portion?
Either way, go ahead, read it.
I'll read a response, and then again, you're going to speak on the first public portion.
Yes.
Who investigates the misconduct and misuse of office by a Gloucester Township official? So that's a very general question.
I imagine you have to know what the nature of the misconduct was, whether it involves police, or whether it involves the executive office administrator, business administrator, depending on what the circumstances
So in the
were.
second public portion.
So that's, you have to know that before you decide which official. If it's criminal, naturally it goes to the prosecutor's office, police, or county prosecutor.
They have refused to do,
So during the second public portion, you're going to go first, sir, okay? And our last question is from Dina Hendry, 89 Lamppost Lane, in Summerdale. Good evening. At the September 25th meeting, I made a request during the initial public portion for a copy of the contract from Blue Wire, and I was explicitly assured that I would receive the requested document. However, as of October 23rd, I am yet to receive the promised copy of the contract. Despite diligently checking both my inbox and spam folders, I find myself without the essential information I've been waiting for. I must emphasize my mounting frustration and disappointment due to significant delay in delivering the requested information. How much longer must I continue this seemingly endless waiting game for information I'm rightfully entitled to receive? I am tending to question the recurring pattern of delayed or withheld information. This lack of transparency, unresponsiveness, and failure to act in a timely manner is not only unacceptable, but also entirely unprofessional. I ask for immediate resolution to this matter. I insist on receiving the requested contract with any further delay and seek an explanation for the repeated delays in fulfilling this straightforward request. I believe when this request was made, Mr. Cardis has indicated he would provide that to Ms. Hendry, and Mr. Cardis has that to provide to Ms. Hendry this evening. Is that correct, Mr. Cardis?
That is correct.
Okay. And the second part, why was there a delay, Mr. Cardis?
The request has been made to the clerk's office, where retention of records are, and that's what was forwarded to me recently.
So at the end of the meeting, if you can give that to Ms. Hendry, I'd appreciate it. She's sitting in the back, to the back row.
I'm aware.
Okay. With that, we'll open up our second public portion. This is for any item that the public wishes to address. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There's 30 minutes during the public portion. You're first, sir, and you'll be second.
Yes, could you hold it by the side where they can see it, please? Yes, they could see it. They flash it around once in a while. I'll take 5 minutes. I'd like the commissioners to see it. I'd like to introduce you to, I'll take 5 minutes and she can have 5 minutes later.
I'll come around.
This is my wife, Cheryl Player. She's a top talent nurse for a hospital in the area, major hospital. She has more credentials probably than anybody, probably has saved more lives than anybody you'll ever meet. She, including, and she can't say this, but I can, because 2 former mayors' families came up to me in shopping and told me that at the end of their life, when all was lost, she poked her nose in the door, saw things, did tests, and they were able to extend their lives and be close to their families for much longer time. And
this is my husband, Jeff Player, and he's actually Master Gardener of the Year a few years ago. So
Congratulations.
he does a lot of volunteer work between beautification of our community, also work with ARC, and generally man around the neighborhood. Everybody asks him for help, and
yeah, our life's been dedicated to helping people. I have a master's in construction, lifelong in the family business, knew the trades, built a hospital for Ambassador Walters in Miami, was in charge of taking over the Wanamaker Failing Project in Philadelphia, and brought that building 100 years old into the future. Our gardens mean a lot to us. My wife has high stress. She was on the front lines of COVID. And while everybody says, oh, she's a hero, no, we didn't get hero treatments. For 2 decades, we've been tormented by a neighbor's harassment. After a decade of that, we were begged by code and police to file charges of harassment. That was played with in the courts, and Judge Trebosh bopped it from prosecutor to prosecutor. Every time a judge or prosecutor was going to nail them for their harassment, it was bumped to another court. And we spent another 10 years just living in torment while these people just had free reign. They claim to have, granddaughter says she has friends and family on the police department and in this building. And it seems like the harassment got more and more refined. We caught him last Thanksgiving. She was trying to destroy, vandalize our property. We had this row of trees that was hidden by her bushes, which later she cut down. Make a long story short, one was a gift from the government of Japan to PHS, which I'm a volunteer. They made one of the trees a gift to me for my volunteer work. Another tree was from the Master Gardeners, which I was cited as Master Gardener of the Year. Grew it up from a seed. It was a beautiful flowering tree. You see some of these trees in the pictures. Another was a gift by the Arbor Association, which I've been a volunteer for decades, you know? So we try to do everything the best we can. We were referred here by the Gloucester Township prosecutor, okay? When we caught this lady trying to use her unlicensed, uninsured contractor, trying to damage our trees against New Jersey law, we told them we were going to call the police. We were raided within 2 hours. I was doing my yard work, cop car pulled up on one side, hemmed me in, jumped out of the car. 2 badge guys come out of the other side of my property with badges flashing. They were code officials. They instantly started attacking us, telling us how they're going to fine. We have to let her do what she wants, with no matter if they're unlicensed or not, that they're family members. The law allows them to do that, which is direct violation of New Jersey law on trees.
Other code officials have been weaponized before by their racist neighbor, and they refused in writing, if you see the records, that, oh, no, we're not going to be weaponized. Oh, no, you want us to go against people that are just, go about their daily lives trying to do good. So they recognized that it was an act by a racist neighbor to torment us. I mean, this is a person that has threatened us by a gun, has actually run us over, hurt him maybe twice, 3 times, me.
They struck me with their car 2 years ago.
I mean,
They
now.
had their buddy on the police force write up that I vandalized their car where they hit me.
So one day she thought that we were gone, and then she calls code, because that's what she does. She called code, she calls fire department, she calls any kind of agency wasting resources. So now, back to code.
So back to, we get raided, okay? They start looking for things on our property. Had a mulch pile because we had a mulch delivery. This is a violation. Okay, so next thing you know, he's just trying to rack up this Gene Martinez and Tony. And this is why we were told by the prosecutor, bring it here, because he said he doesn't have the authority to start an investigation into him. Right as soon as this started happening, we brought it to the attention of the mayor. We went to the Camden County Commission, because in the past, the same thing has been brought to their attention when they had a meeting about racism and stuff like that, that wasn't going to be allowed to occur in our township or in our county. We went there, and so they knew the history of this. Donald Norcross's office reached out to Gloucester Township. They knew about the history of this. So the state attorney general's office, the Camden County Attorney General office, referred it to an internal affairs of Gloucester Township and told them to investigate this as gross misconduct. After the initial thing that was done, we complied with what he wanted, even though it wasn't in the code at all, what he was claiming. Then he went back and retaliated again. Our neighbor wasn't happy.
The next day.
Mr. Miss Player, you exceeded your 5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
You are able to speak another time if there's time permitted.
Okay.
I want you to try to finish your thought. I asked the people that have raised their hand, you can take a seat right there. And we do have 30 minutes in our public portion. Just take a seat right there and we'll try to go.
Okay, just in closing, we were told that Gloucester, the commission here, the Gloucester County Council, would be the only one that could initiate an investigation.
Mr. Farmer, you can grab us, Mr. Farmer.
So I was listening to the gentleman speak. The first thing that came to mind is perhaps schedule time when we can sit down one-on-one and get a handle on the circumstances, or perhaps if I could reach out to the prosecutor to see what the circumstances are. Hearing it like this, it might be a little bit difficult to get a good grasp of the circumstances that are happening. I don't see why there would not be other violations that might be there just by the surface of what you're saying. I think there's civil remedies as well as any other remedy. If there is harassment going on. There are a lot of remedies civilly and there are criminal. So I don't know if I can get a grasp of what you're saying just by speaking.
We went to the legal office in the building here. Is that your office?
If you were in upstairs, that's my office.
Yes, we talked to, what was it, a week or two ago? And she promised you would get back with us.
It's the first I'm hearing of your.
Okay,
All right, Mr. Clay, your time's up, but if we have more time, I'll bring you back.
okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
And Ms. Smith, and you're after him, and Mr. Polidor is after Ms. Smith.
Hello and thank you. My name is Patrick Duff. I'm a Haddon Heights resident. I run a website called NewJerseyRabbleRouser.com. I'm a First Amendment activist, and I'm here because a couple people let me know that there was a statement made by Mr. Mercado at the last meeting that basically that people were out in the parking lot putting flyers on cars, and that you were going to ask the police to go out there and stop them from doing so, and it's a constitutionally protected activity. So today I came and made sure I put flyers on all the cars out there, and the police watched us put the flyers. They did not arrest us, thank God. Yeah, thank God. But
Thank you for protecting our First Amendment.
yeah, well, I was in Lavalette not long ago. They arrested 2 activists for simply filming a meeting. Yeah, and I'm 13-0 against municipalities and government lawsuits. So the one thing I was going to say is that there was a letter sent to the council by a person named Giselle Brown, who the clerk is saying requested basically her address not be provided. But the law states that you must provide senders, receivers, and the subject, and they can't be redacted. So what's interesting about Giselle Brown is that, I'm an investigative journalist, so I wanted to know, well, who's Giselle Brown? Why would the email be redacted? And in all of New Jersey, with the spelling that she has, there is no Giselle Brown. So I don't know if this was an email that was made up. I don't know who the email address is coming from because it's redacted. But I can tell you it's suspicious because the flyer that was put on there and the person's picture is you, Mr. Mercado. And you had mentioned that.
Not Giselle Brown.
No. But what I'm saying is that the person seemed offended by the flyer. They said they were frightened, in fact, that there was a flyer left on their car. I can't see how you'd be frightened because a flyer is left on your car. I mean, this is what protects us from tyranny. The fact that we can have a 2-party system, that we can have free speech, that we can have the ability to, and by the way, I surely appreciate you reading the egos. I've never seen that. And I go to a lot of municipalities, so I appreciate that. You did not read her ego, though. She said she sent it in on time, which is about the situation here. So just want to recommend you might want to clarify your statement. The officers weren't arresting anybody, thank God, like I said. But trust me, when I came here, I thought I might be arrested. When I went to Lavalette, I made sure I had my camera out. I walked in, and they pretty much know me. A lot of people know me in the municipality communities. And they kind of smiled and laughed and said, "Your seat's right here, Mr. Duff." So they didn't arrest me either. But, listen, it's when things aren't clear and they're ambiguous, and you leave them ambiguous, I recommend that you don't do that. And secondly, I had my car stolen in Gloucester Township. I got to tell you, it was in Clementon, Casper's Corner. I have a bunch of really cool Mustangs. I was selling one. It was a Coyote Swap Mustang. And this guy jumped in and stole it right from Casper's Corner. Took it to Philadelphia, Ben Salem actually. He said he was paid by somebody to steal the car. As an investigative journalist, I made his life hell for 24 hours and posted a picture of him and his girlfriend that was provided to me. The next morning, he said, "If you please take the post down, I'll give you your car back." He turned himself in the next day to the Gloucester Township Police, who marked him as the victim of the crime. The guy that stole my car, Juan Diaz, was marked as the victim of the crime, and he was also marked as a juvenile. His charges were downgraded from grand theft and one other felony charge to a trespassing, a misdemeanor trespassing. As the victim, I was never contacted once by your municipality, once by your municipal court. So I wanted to teach Mr. Diaz how law works, so I filed a lawsuit against him. He's in default right now, and I'm going to file one against the township too, because I want to find out how it is that, number one, I don't get marked as the victim on the application. Number two, how the hell is a 31-year-old man a juvenile? Would you put him into the juvenile system when he goes to the county, getting his charge downgraded? And, you know, as a, the detective told me that he lived in Philadelphia, this Juan Diaz guy, but he didn't. He lives in Sewell in a $400,000 home. So obviously I'm going to put a lien against that baby and teach him how you really take stuff legally. But I just want you to clarify, number one, that you're not going to arrest people for the flyering of cars. And number two, please, can somebody look into this? What happened to my case here? Somebody stole a car from your municipality, took it to Ben Salem in a conspiracy, and somehow that charge gets downgraded to a trespassing? Does anybody, if I stole any of your cars, would you feel comfortable with that? I guarantee you wouldn't. You would feel like justice is not served. And by the way, the girl, Nicole, his girlfriend, her dad is the ex-chief of police in Greenwich Township. So it's all on who you know sometimes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Council. My name is Shauna C. Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It's Clementon, New Jersey, but I'm told to utilize the Gloucester Township municipality, including their council meetings. Good evening, Council.
Good evening again.
Elections are coming up, correct?
Yes.
Very similar frequencies come off of things around some type of time called March Madness during football season, like everything starts getting very active. I have a lot of things going on with myself. Seems very similar to patterns that just repeat themselves from the time I was very small. Since elections are coming up, I was reminded of a street type story from my education of constantly trying my whole life. Always trying. Like, I think I brought it up last council meeting, I was breech. I've always had the feeling that something was not right, but I had no way to prove it. And growing up, not becoming a doctor to properly diagnose psychopaths, I received a diagnosis. So I have two siblings who were undiagnosed. I received a mental illness diagnosis. 2 against 1. What can you do? I accept it. I hold it with pride. I've met a lot of people with similar diagnoses, and I'm proud. Since these seem to cycle out, rather than focusing the blame is a strong word. Everybody could just take a breath and realize that in every profession, whether you run a household, a baseball team, you protect, serve, educate, or feed, it doesn't really matter. We're human, and these terrible things start to happen with groups and collections. And as an electrician, it's true, things connect, negative to positive. They form clusters. You just got to break it down and remind people you can't do that. So here's a story that I heard. A group of bandits, a band of thieves, entered a town or a colony. It might be that old, the story. They enslaved the residents, forced them to mine all the hills and mountains in the area. While they were doing that, the thieves went and hunted every animal and placed their fur on the ground in the town. And right before there was hardly any precious material left in the mountains and hills, they destroyed a dam. And the floodwater came and washed away all their prisoners. And the thieves just rolled up the fur and left. Seems like they use people against each other until there's just nothing left in the town and they leave. Let's not let that happen. Let's stop it before it happens. It's already happening in small ways. We have hardly any more mom and pop stores any longer. You see great ideas of buildings going up to service a community and they're taken down and then a replacement is put up. But we're not really keeping up with it. Since these things seem to cycle, I wanted to remind everybody that these things continue to happen. And the ideas responsible, the so-called band of thieves, they just leave. They're not trying to save the world. They're trying to steal it. And they got away with it. And they always do. But we're still here. I live here. I was never trying to exit. I was always trying to just be here. Turns out a lot of things are upside down, being preached. We just have to work with each other. So any issues that you're having, just remember that this country, the way it was taught to me, is for the people, by the people. Every type of complication we go into is a reflection of our own behavior. I have a pretty good memory for certain things, not all the time, but in the effort to try, and I remember quite a lot, and these things have been cycling out since I was very small. I thought I could grow out of it. I thought I could become an adult and their world would not exist anymore. I could just have my own, but that didn't happen. So I'm just gonna keep trying here. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Mr. Polidoro. You need to rate
I raised it, but
you go after Mr. Polidoro.
thank you.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the still historical village of Ariel. So first question I want to ask is, it was also mentioned previously, Ms. Coyne had sent an EGOV question in, and is there any reason why that was not read aloud tonight?
Mr. Polidoro, I received 4 EGOVs. When they come in, the clerk, and also it goes to the mayor's office, they forward it to me. I did not receive any.
Could you check with the clerk if that arrived on time? Because we think there may be others also that had arrived before the 12 o'clock chime.
Well, there'll be timestamps, so if not read here, they'll be read at the next meeting on November 13th, I believe.
May be irrelevant by then.
14th.
Okay, so 2 meetings ago, you walked in the back of the room and you handed me that the card that the gentleman had a little bit earlier. And you wrote me a little love note on there telling me that I left something for you. And I just thought it was a show of affection of some kind, I'm sure, from you. Later to miss the last meeting, watch it on the live stream. Later on, when that topic came up, you took a shot at me. And I obviously wasn't here to be able to address that. I'd like to have a civilized conversation with you on that.
Mr. Polidoro, I said I gave it back to the owner of that car.
Did you give one to anyone else?
I gave it to you.
Okay, and what would make you think that I was the owner?
You have a leadership role, and I gave that back to you.
And again, that didn't make me the owner, but you took a shot at me.
That's a shot.
Well, let me put it this way. No, I'm not going to put it this way because it won't come out nice no matter how I say it. So you took a shot at me, and I'm gonna respond. Okay. I was in here. I told you I was in here. Had nothing to do with it, nor did I have the knowledge that was going out. And how you want to generalize things or make me guilty by association, that's when you're calling, that's your character. That's not mine. So as this goes on, and then I have to hear you read an email about that a woman. I'm guessing that's a woman, Giselle. Let me not then identify that so we don't get into that rough. So Giselle Brown sends an email, and she is disturbed and frightened because she found paper that represented free speech out on her vehicle in the parking lot. Again, it is what it is. And it made me wonder, why would she feel frightened by that? And we don't know if this woman was even from our town, or this person was from our town, or whatever the case may be. She was celebrate the promotion of officers. So that frightened her, maybe. And I'm wondering, why would she be frightened? And then I remembered a conversation we had not too long ago, and you patronized me with your answer at the time, which you do a lot of. And that was having to do with the metal detectors.
No shots from you today. No shots, right?
Well,
no shots. Continue, please continue.
Okay. It's a civilized conversation.
Yeah, yes.
That's why he does that with you, Ray, because you give and you take. It's banter.
All right, let me grab my time back real quick. So with that, we have metal detectors only at council meetings. Planning board, zoning board, you can walk into the mayor's office, you can walk into Tom's office, but only when you come to council meetings. Can you tell me what it is you're in fear of, why you have those metal detectors only at a council meeting? Whatever happened that was initiated, is the fear gone now? Maybe that lady was a little nervous walking in to this council meeting with metal detectors where she never had to do that before.
Oh, Earl, that came about, and that was a recommendation from the former chief, Harry Earl. Gavin Gifford was shot.
Okay, and I can understand that.
A congresswoman was shot.
Mhm.
There have been individuals that have been escorted from council chambers here during heated meetings that indicated that perhaps we need some protection up here.
Do you still feel that need?
I think everyone should feel safe coming onto the property of Gloucester Township, whether it's in the parking lot or here in council chambers. And that individual had indicated that they did not feel safe here. Now, Ray, you champion everyone's causes. Maybe that cause struck a nerve with you. But that person sent an email, they said they didn't feel safe here. And I said, okay, let's address it. Miss Danny, I can't have you shout, you've been shouting out all day.
I haven't said a word until just now.
Okay, let me grab my last couple seconds just
Right, there's some more.
for the end of the conversation. So in any event, yeah.
Please wrap it up.
All right, in any event, I wanted to square it up with you, and for the most part, free speech will always exist. And I'm glad you responded to Mr. Duff the way that you did, and that works out. But also with the eGov questions, let's see if we can get them a little more timely, because I do feel that they were in there. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Ms. Danny.
I made this meeting tonight because I left my mom at the memory care that she's
Your name and address again?
Danny Paris, 507 Millbridge Road, and I haven't been able to get here, but I watch the meetings every week or every 2 weeks when you run your meetings. And I think you owe an apology, a big apology to Denise Coyne and Dina Henry, the way that you speak to them. And as a council president, it's very disrespectful. I watch it over again and over again. Nobody has the right, whether you're a president of a council or you're the vice president of a council, whether you're a secretary, whether you're just one of the councilmen, to speak to people that pay your money, whatever money you get to be on this council, the way that you speak to these people, okay? And the way that you speak to me or anybody else, all right? And when somebody asks a question and doesn't get an answer back, that's very disrespectful, okay? So you should know a question that somebody asks you, and in the following meeting, you should be able to answer that question. A long time ago, I'm gonna say it in a minute, I just wanna say something to the deputy chief, who I don't even know, but I made a very good compliment to the chief of police and his police department this past week, because nothing was going on. Nothing for 9 years that I was doing some things for Millbridge Apartments and for some other places for the chief for free, since I was working for the prosecutor's office, Lou Cerubi, for 20 years, okay? And I was training all the police recruits, and they finally did something, two things that they did. And I gave them acknowledgement and said I was so proud of the Gloucester Township Police Department and the chief of police and everybody that worked for the chief and this department, Gloucester Township. Let me tell you something, what they did this last 2 times and how they did it was very professional. But how you do meetings and people watch these meetings and how you disrespect these women is unbelievable. And I sat there and just watched these meetings from 7 until when it was over, every single Monday night that you have these meetings, because I couldn't get here. And it was disrespectful. And I don't think that's how you teach people how to talk to residents who supported you or didn't support you, or how you represent this township. That's just one thing I want to say. Going back to your solar panels that you get $10,000 off. No, this is something I brought up a long time ago when I asked you about the solar panels that are on top of those GEMS Superfund landfill. Okay, that you told me that were not into the ground. They go back to 1952. They're over 30 years old, that landfill. They should have never been put up there. I researched it with Trenton. Those landfills should not have solar panels on top of there. Now I just heard you had a great big meeting with the mayor, and congratulations, it was all over TV, that you're gonna get another solar panel company to come in and put some more up there. It was all over TV. You and the mayor was so excited that you had Blue Power Sky or something.
Can you pause that for a second?
Hold on.
No, can you pause that for a second? Miss Danny?
No, there's another company coming in.
Miss Danny,
Okay.
I have not had a meeting with the mayor.
No, it was on a commercial.
Or Blue Sky Power.
Not Blue Sky, another one.
Okay, I've not had a meeting with the mayor about any solar.
Do you know that
Miss Danny, you came here a year ago and said I had a private meeting too. I'm still waiting for you to provide that recording.
I have it, but I don't have time right now because of my mother.
Please continue.
Hold on for a second. That's right. Hold on for a second. Those solar panels have a life limit. So now, when those life limits are done, you gotta throw them in the GEMS landfill, and it's not that long. So everybody wants to go solar, and when I went and talked to Trenton and to the solar people out there, these things don't last long, okay? So everybody wants to go solar, and they don't last a long time. And this company that comes around for houses, you're not gonna pay anything now, but when you sell your house, you gotta pay for the solar panels that you put up there. So people understand that these people that are coming around selling you solar panels for free, it's not for free. When you sell your house, you're gonna have to pay for them before you sell your house. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, how do you have those solar panels on top of that mountain when they're not supposed to be up on a mountain? They're only supposed to be on a flat land, and nothing over 30 years can those solar panels be on. Who passed that?
That was approved by DEP.
By DEP in Trenton?
Yes.
Do you have those papers? If I ask for an Oprah report,
Mr. Cardis, those things can be provided.
you have them? So I can write an Oprah report to find that?
Absolutely.
One more second, and I just want to get this through. When you got that giant fitness put in here, do you know who the owner is?
I know the gentleman.
Do you know the owner, what his background is?
I don't know his name.
Because he also owns that medical marijuana place. He was in jail for 33 years for federal prison for being indicted for heroin and 33 kilos of heroin and cocaine. So thank you for letting him into our community.
Is there anyone who has not spoken that'd like to speak? Are you wish to speak again, sir?
Yes.
Ms. Coyne? Sir? Ms. Coyne's gonna go, and then you're gonna be our last speaker.
I'll come and get Oprah report.
Denise Coyne, Choose Landing. I spoke to Nancy earlier and she told me she did get my eGov, so I'm wondering why it wasn't read.
Ms. Coyne, I only read what is provided to me. If it's not here, I can't read it. If it's
Well,
not
can somebody tell me what happened to it?
I don't know, Ms. Coyne. Nancy, did you receive the eGov?
What was the eGov in reference to?
It was in a reference to the First Amendment violation. And when I spoke to you, you said you got it.
I didn't speak to you about anything about an eGov. I spoke to you about the Giselle Brown Oprah request. Nothing about I have all of your emails here, as a matter of fact.
I thought you told me I got your eGov and it'll be read.
No.
I could have sworn that's what you told me, but I spoke to you this afternoon.
Returned your.
I sent it in at 11:50 something.
we checked all the e-govs at 12:04.
I got it said, your email has been confirmed as being sent, or whatever it says. And Ira sent one in, and I think Pete Heimbaugh sent one in. So, I mean, what good is this?
Mr. Highball came in at 12:04.
Okay, well, mine was definitely sent before 12.
I read everything that comes in, so.
Okay, so
There's nothing to hide.
what good is this system if it doesn't work?
You're stepping over me. Can I respond to you?
Sure.
If it's sent, it's read. If I receive it, we're gonna read it. If it's not provided to me, I can't read it.
Okay, well, it was sent.
They don't go directly to me. It goes to this, it's provided by the clerk provides that to me.
Okay, well, it was sent. So my
You're
question
here-
is,
You're here, Ms. Coyne. The benefit of eGov was for people to send a question in if they can't make the meeting.
no, there's other benefits to it also.
That was the bet, now it's to get things on the record. So you have time to talk about our First Amendment and how it violated your constitutional rights.
No, I don't have time now. There's only 2 minutes and 52 seconds left, and I don't have it here with me to read. And part of the reason I send in my e-govs is because I have very bad eyesight, and it's very difficult for me to stand up here and read statements that I have to read. So that's why I send them in via e-gov, so you can read them for me. Okay? I'm old. My eyes suck.
So we'll read,
Sorry.
We'll read them at the next meeting.
Okay, well, I just want to understand what good is the eGov system if you send something in and you get a confirmation saying it was sent, but it doesn't get here? What good is it?
You utilize it
doesn't
all the
work.
time. I think it's beneficial.
And there's
I
been
think-
2 or 3 times where
I
you
think
tell me
it's-
you don't get my eGovs. So I'd just like to know how that happens.
I
How
don't
can you
know.
electronically submit something and it
I'm
disappears?
not involved in receiving those things. None of council's involved in receiving them.
Okay, well, I'm just starting to think maybe prior restraint is involved in here because other people's get read and mine do not.
It's so easy to believe that, but no.
Well, after so many times,
Miss Danny, could you please stop speaking out?
Yes.
Miss Danny,
Every single meeting, we read your email.
no, you don't.
We do.
No, that's not true. There's been 2 or 3 times they haven't been read. Everybody else's but mine. Okay?
You have to agree, for the most part, that's not a problem. I mean, when
Do you have to agree that it is a problem when a constituent that lives in Gloucester Township sent an eGov in and it says that it was sent, but it doesn't get here and it doesn't get read? Is that a problem for you? Because it's a problem for me.
Probably sent 50 e-govs that have been read here. And then, and you said.
And your point is,
That 2 or 3 you're claiming were sent on time. haven't-
2 or 3 is a problem.
Okay, but if.
1's a problem.
But you said Pete Heimbaugh sent one in, and we clearly indicated that was sent in after the.
Okay, but there were 2 others that were sent before. Okay, so 1's an issue, 2's a problem, 3's a problem. That's a problem.
She cannot.
To me, if I was sitting where you were and a constituent was saying that they sent something in and it wasn't received, that would be a problem. My response would be, gee, Mrs. Coyne, I'm sorry we didn't receive that. We'll have to look into it and see what the issue is. That would be my response. Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Mr. Blair, you're our last speaker. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, Donald Norcross addressed it to the mayors. County Commissioners, Jeff Nash's office addressed it to Gloucester Township. The prosecutor says he has no authorization to do an investigation. Legal, we went down to the office 2 weeks ago after our last court hearing. As far as you say, additional violations, no house number on my house. I have house number on my house, my mailbox. Yeah, they're frivolous. Bottom line is they're meant to punish. They're meant to satisfy my neighbor who seems to have some undue influence. I show you pictures of her yard, look like garbage, weed infested and everything else. Our gardens are beautiful. You saw all the flowers and stuff that we put out there, therapy gardens. She works hard to save people's lives, and that's her solace, to have our gardens. To have this guy act so outrageously as a personal enforcer, our neighbor's a psychologist for the counties, 2 different counties, And he said that he has a hero syndrome, that he wants to take care of the little old lady. Doesn't realize what a sham, well, the psychologist knows what a sham she is, what a fraud she is, what a grifter she is, how she's insurance fraud and every other thing. She put her grandkids through the schools here when they did live in this township. But the bottom line is this: I need to know what's going to happen, because the police department says we're not going to enforce administrative code of her using unlicensed, uninsured contractors to damage your property. We're not even going to check their IDs. And that's what we got from
Actually,
community relations.
actually, it was, I'm so sorry, but it was the police who aided the code enforcement in their police raid. They had a Gestapo style police raid, because when we talked to Gloucester Township Internal Affairs, he was astonished, and he said, that's Gestapo style. So the next day, we get another Gestapo style retaliation. The very next day after we reported it to Gloucester Township Internal Affairs, but
When the county gave it to the Internal Affairs Gloucester, we had another raid looking for trouble, peering through fences. I gotta tell you, my yard's lined with trees and bushes. They were going and trespassing on neighbor properties. But the bottom line is those beautiful trees have been cut down. Okay, they've been chopped up under police protection. The police were given the law of New Jersey. They said they're not going to enforce it. They actually had police protection while a non-arborist attacked those beautiful trees and destroyed them. Okay? In direct violation of the law, Sergeant came out there and said, I read the law, I know what it is. When we went to your office, she knew exactly what the law was and said they were wrong for doing what they did.
well, the tree owner company.
The tree owner company came out. He admitted they violated the law and wanted to make amends in any way possible. So now it gets to refer to from the state and the county for this Gloucester Township to investigate this. And they turn around. We went to your office, no response since we went there. We have lots of documentation. We have witnesses. We have recordings of my neighbor and this code official, Gene Martinez, collaborating.
There's witness intimidation.
Okay. Yes, they've actually, and then the psychologist who lives next door that stepped in because he saw what was going on. He stopped. He was so disturbed by their body language, how they were corralling us, and he knows her history of what she's done to us. And I mean, we're both got PTS, whatever. We were both being treated for it, post-traumatic stress, because it's nonstop harassment. Every night, the horns honk, they wake us up. But that's between her and us.
No, that's between her and her mental illness.
Okay,
So we've told code this particular, well, are we allowed to say?
No, I guess our question is this, because we're running out of time.
So
who's going to investigate this? Is it your office?
Mr. Carlin just leaned over and Ms. Danny, could you please stop? Ms. Danny, please stop.
This is ridiculous that these
Ms.
couple has to go through
Ms.
this.
Danny, I'm asking you to please
I
stop
am gonna
commenting.
stop.
There are the rules of decorum. You're not supposed to be shouting out. You
I'm not
keep
shouting.
interrupting everything that's taking place here
Really?
today. You're being disruptive.
You're not helping anybody here.
Mr. Carlin.
So I'm hearing what you're saying. There's a lot of things that could be very troubling. Comment that I made to Council President is to inquire as to whether or not you had the opportunity to sit down with a officer to sign a complaint, unless it's damaged the property or whatever, to your neighbor.
No.
That would then give the jurisdiction with the municipal court and the prosecutor. Unless you sign a complaint, then they really don't have that jurisdiction. If you feel that there was malicious destruction and damage to your property by your neighbor, you have to sign a complaint.
That's not why we're here, actually. That we understand. The issue is the official misconduct under the color of law of one of your code officials.
Because he's gonna come back.
And because he's acting with impunity and he's escalating.
And he's well
Mayor,
aware.
that's something that you can speak to police department.
Sure.
Also, that code enforcement is falling under, Mr. Borelli, correct? Director Borelli?
Correct.
Yes.
Are they under the police department or not?
They are not.
Is that Tony?
Okay, well,
Code enforcement.
so my question is your office going to investigate this?
Well, when you stop.
Okay, I'm not concerned with the code
I
violation.
don't know what you mean by investigating, because you have to understand, if you want a response from a municipal court because someone damaged your property, the only action that gets it before the municipal court is you signing a complaint.
I understand.
So without a complaint, it's just verbiage.
That's not the issue.
Same thing civilly. You have a right to file an action against someone for civil damage to your property besides criminal action, okay? Now, so when you say if I will investigate, I can make inquiries to see if any complaints have been signed, but I don't have jurisdiction to investigate your neighbor. You have to.
No, we're not talking about our neighbor. We're talking about the official misconduct of a code official.
So that's why I'm asking you to reach out to Director
We're not here
Borelli.
about the neighbor.
And we'll grab a name, I don't want the name here, you provide that name to Mr. Carlemere. And then Mr. Carlemere will reach out to Director Borelli and follow up on this matter for us.
The violations
Sir,
are
if we could
bogus.
obtain your email and we can forward you, our letters to the prosecutor.
So, here is a phone number here. I'm gonna have the legal department, Mary Ann is probably who you spoke to.
Yes.
Contact you for information, and she can give you information to send it right to the municipal office, the second floor legal department, and then we'll be in communication.
Okay, we met with her, told her the scenario, she was aghast, said she was going to talk to you, reach out, and then come back where we could give her named witnesses. We had this gentleman retaliate against our neighbor because he stepped up for us. So it's not the bogus violations. Those are easily defended. They're bogus. There's ridiculousness. You know, when I'm cited for a bush encumbering future utilities in a 50-year-old neighborhood.
We're here because this was.
Okay, so,
Mr. Carlemere will reach out, his office will reach out.
okay,
We'll follow
it's
up.
the misconduct of the code officials.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. That will conclude our second public portion. On the record.
Mr. Carlemere.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis.
Nothing to report.
Deputy Chief Manazi.
Nothing.
Mr. McGill.
Thank you.
Mr. Hutchinson.
Thank you for coming.
Mr. Walters. Mr. Vignani.
Congratulations to all the coaches that were honored tonight, and everybody be safe. Have a great week.
Mr. Mercado.
Congratulations to all the honorees this evening. I want to thank the Gloucester Township Scholarship Committee for a wonderful event this past Saturday, the Food and Beer Truck Festival downtown Blackwood. Thousands were in attendance there, and it was a nice event. This Friday is trunk or treat in Veterans Park. There'll be more thousands there. Chief, she's like, too many people. But that is from 7 to 9, trunk or treat. I hope everyone has a great Halloween. We will not be back here until November 13th. So we'll see you in November. With that, I entertain the motion to adjourn. There's a second. All those in favor? Great evening, everyone.
You know, for years, we have this around. These two codes, that time. Well, we didn't know until Judge Reebok and the mayor. So we have